Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Happy Monday. I don't know how other people are doing it. It's been really hot in Wisconsin. We're actually in drought conditions. We haven't had rain in like 2.5, 3 weeks, and it's been like 90 a couple of times, and it's unseasonably warm.
Yeah, it's just not pleasant around here right now.
But
everything is dying outside.
But enough about us. We're not talking about Ahsoka today. I know we've kind of been on an Ahsoka kick, so we're going to talk about another thing that starts with A. Andor. I found a story. Tony Gilroy kind of talks about what's different in Andor Season 2, building the Rebel Alliance, and more.
Dun dun dun.
No, that makes it sound like it's bad. Don't do that.
Oh, dun dun dun.
Thank you. That's much better. Entertainment Weekly does the Dagobah Dispatch. It's their Star Wars podcast. And they had Tony Gilroy on, where he talked about what's different going into the second season. Second season that I can't wait for. I'm surprised he even gets to talk to them during the writer's strike, because they pretty much told him he can't be on the set anymore.
Is that breaking the strike too? Can't talk about what you might be writing or
He's
working
actually
on?
Giving hints to the rest of them, like telling them stuff, and he's like...
It's like sending code. Yeah.
It's all code.
We need to do a podcast so we can get Tony Gilroy on here. That'd be
come?
amazing.
Would any of them even
I
talk
don't
to
know.
us?
I think
They might talk to me.
I would have
cooler.
I would have a hard time believing, because of my other channel, that we wouldn't be blacklisted.
But I'm on this channel.
I know. There's no reason to blacklist you, but I've had some harsh things to say about Disney Star Wars.
As long as I'm not talking about She-Hulk or
yeah,
Willow,
you've
we're fine.
you might be in Disney's crosshairs as well after those Willow and especially those She-Hulk reviews. I mean, Willow was more this sadness.
Yeah.
She-Hulk was just like,
She-Hulk
why?
they did to themselves, honestly.
Yeah.
I said what everyone else was thinking.
Yeah,
And
you
because
did.
I'm a girl, I can say.
I know. I couldn't have said the same things
like
without
I hate
it
women.
sounding like I hate women, which, as you know, I do.
Clearly. That's why you married one. I'm your beard for hating women.
I guess so.
Weird.
It couldn't have anything to do with me loving you and us
No.
getting along and just having a great time in life. Nothing like that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I think we early ramble. Usually it's the end of the video. I'm sorry,
Yeah, we're
everybody.
all over the board, sorry. Season 2 of Andor, what we're talking about, is currently in production, which is exciting. Diego Luna is one of the producers. He's the only producer right now, seeing as Tony Gilroy would be a scab, apparently, if he does his job. Because he's not doing that as a showrunner, he gets to talk to people about what to expect from Season 2 and where they're going. Exciting.
Unless Diego Luna just completely changes everything while he's away.
No, see, Diego Luna's on the
Andor now
podcast,
lives.
too.
What?
It's probably so they can
Man.
secretly communicate.
Maybe.
They rode together.
Now I'm getting jealous. No, I'm kidding. I'm good. I'd love to talk to him, but
Well, we're
as I
not
said,
Entertainment Weekly either.
Yeah. I thought you said this was like the Dagobah podcast.
Yeah, which is their podcast
Oh,
on Star
I thought
Wars.
it sounded like just some
No.
two people in their garage kind of podcast thing.
All right, so first off, they asked Gilroy what the biggest difference going from making Season 1 to making Season 2 is. He says, the expectations. The responsibility that we have to have the characters we've set up, and our responsibility to bring it home efficiently. But mostly, it's to make it pay off emotionally and stick the landing.
It's weird to say that when you know the landing is all your characters dying. Well, at least Cassian, I should say.
Yes,
I mean,
but he
the
has to
titular
get
character.
us, where we're going, and we have so many other stories that we don't know the endings to going on.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot
Luthen
of characters.
and Mon Mothma's family, Val, Cinta, yeah.
There's a lot of characters who.
The guy who's
Marva's
working,
brick. We don't know if that gets put into the
Deidre.
wall or not. Deidre and Cyril.
Cyril.
Cyril. What did I call it?
Deidre.
Deidre. Why did I call it Cyril? What does that even mean?
I don't even.
That's
I
just
don't even know.
weird. It's my first ship. All right, just leave me alone.
Then they asked Gilroy about how the rebellion will form in Season 2. One of the major themes in Andor is the theme of disunity, and specifically how the separate factions of the soon-to-be rebellion are in a state of disorder. When they asked him about how that would change in Season 2, he compared it to modern politics.
Uh-oh.
He says the Rebel Alliance that emerges on Yavin is almost like the Christian Democrats. It's a consolidated, compromised group. But what happened to the original gangsters and the hardcore people who built that road? What happened to them? How do they integrate with the Rebel Alliance? That'll be a lot of what we're doing. Yeah, I don't think Luthen fits in with that group.
No.
I'm going to make things worse on purpose to drive to our cause isn't what the rebellion wants to look like.
No, that's not a bad look. You want to keep that on the down low. You don't want people to know you're trying to make things worse so that you'll support them.
Well, that's like what Cassian's
God, it is
job
like modern politics, isn't it?
It is. Well, think about it. When we meet Cassian in Rogue One, especially at the ending, he and a group of people want to kind of redeem themselves because they know they've done horrible things in the name of the rebellion, to do the good in the name of...
Yeah, Luthen's speech is one of the most epic things I've ever seen
really
anywhere.
is.
And just so chilling because you realize...
True.
Yeah, he's sacrificing his soul for the rebellion, essentially.
He's making those choices that nobody can make but him.
Nobody's willing to do the things he's willing to do, and
You think
for
Princess
that he
Leia
doesn't
would
get
have
celebrated.
been okay with doing things his way?
Yeah, Leia gets celebrated for being the leader, and Mon Mothma will eventually be celebrated.
But he doesn't want to be the leader.
No.
He wants to hide behind the faces that are known to the Empire. That's why he is Axis, hiding in the shadows.
Yeah, to a degree, but he's also talking about how he's never going to get recognition for all these things he does.
No.
And if they ever do learn what he did, he'd still be shunned.
He would still be the bad guy.
Yeah, he'd still be blacklisted, essentially, even though he did all these kind of great things.
He was using Saw. Saw gets to now make the decision if he's going to go help that guy or not. Krieger.
Yeah, I still love the Saw Luthen conversation. Like, well, if I did it, well, if you did it, you would have. And it's like, oh my God, it's so beautiful because one of them did. Well, we know Luthen did it, and they're discussing why. I know you did it, Saw. No, I know you did it. Just a great scene.
It is a great scene, and you're right. He does hide behind everybody. He is working as the shadow puppeteer. He never wants to be recognized. He doesn't want anyone to know his name or to any.
Yeah, but yes and no.
Himself.
It's not that he doesn't want to be recognized, but he realizes if it ever comes to light what he's done, you don't get you don't get the kind of recognition he wants. He's the savior of the galaxy in a way, but he's also its greatest villain at the same time.
He's somebody
using their weapons.
Afterwards would be persecuted as one of them.
Exactly. You would look at the things he did as like, is it worth it? Yeah, it is, but can you say that and still consider yourself, like a moral person to say you did all these horrible things to achieve greatness, or to save the galaxy?
Right.
What is the cost you're willing to pay? That's why that speech is so epic.
And that's another thing that makes me sad about these time jumps that are going to happen in the season, because I want this to slow play out and see everything that's happening, but they have to move it along.
I would have been fine with this being 5 seasons, some kind of Game of Thrones.
But I understand why they're not doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I get it.
He also didn't want to sacrifice quality, which both he and Diego Luna were worried was going to happen if they dragged it out.
Yeah, I think their
where
budget...
it turns into a chore instead of a passion.
Yeah, plus you also got to look that Disney Plus is having problems. They keep talking about cutting back shows. Clearly Andor. They spent the money on Andor.
Yeah, they did.
So as long as they're spending that same money on season 2, I don't think you would have seen that across 5 seasons.
Look at the amount of money they're saving for not doing it 3 more times.
Yeah, you're welcome, Disney.
But they did ask Tony Gilroy about these time jumps that we're having in the second season, because every 3 episodes of season 2 is supposed to jump forward about a year. It's supposed to close out mere moments away from the scene we see in Rogue One. The opening scene.
The opening scene where he shoots his informant in the back.
But Gilroy says, regarding these time jumps, it's a really interesting writing responsibility. We're going to use negative space in a really interesting way to fill these gaps. There will be 4 gaps. There will be the gap before you start episode 1, and each block will have a year in between it. The trick is to make it worth it. We stay for a very short period of time. That's the most important 3, 4, 5 days a year later. And how do you tell it without doing any of the awkward exposition?
Yeah, that's the tricky part, right? Where you're not just having people telling you what they missed. Because that's no.
Because you don't want to watch a 20-minute conversation where they're discussing how things went over the past.
Yeah.
Cassian,
so
after your year under
undercover, how are you feeling? Why don't you give me a report?
Tell me about how the year undercover went.
Yeah.
On your mission. Yeah, no one wants that.
No.
They do have to fill the negative space in a smart way, where they do have to do it with exposition, but they can't just lay it all on you at once.
No.
It'll be interesting to see how it's handled. Honestly, that's one thing I'm very curious about.
Yeah.
What if I get really invested in what's doing this year, and then the next time I see him will be a year later, and I'll be like, well, what happened with what they were doing?
Yeah, because one of the best parts of season 1 was that slow build. You felt the slow burn,
the suspense.
You felt it just build, and then you had the explosion at the end or at the end of the arc. I mean, you can still do that to a degree, but it was like one arc kind of played into the next that just culminated into the finale. So you can't. I mean, you can kind of do that to the same extent here, but. Again, there's so much missing information and time. I don't think you can do it the same way.
Right.
Then again, Tony Gilroy, at this point, I believe can do the impossible. He made Andor the best Star Wars series out there.
Somehow.
Somehow Andor is the best Star Wars we've gotten in a long time. Yeah.
It literally is because Disney just ignored them entirely.
It is. Isn't that funny how that works?
Like, we're doing an Andor series
just
and nobody
give him some
seems
money.
to care. So,
yeah. Give him money and whatever else he wants. It's Tony Gilroy and greatness ensued.
And the last thing they asked him was whether there'll be any returning characters from Rogue One in Andor Season 2.
Curious.
It's funny that they call him returning, which would be their original view.
Yeah.
He says, yes. The answer is yes. There are some that are inevitable. There are some that are surprising. And there are some we probably can't get for various reasons.
Probably what, Darth Vader isn't going to return? Is that what he's saying?
He's probably saying, yeah, they're not getting no Darth Vader, sorry.
Yeah, well, there would be no... I mean, I guess you could work it in there, but there's really no reason for Vader.
Well, think of it. It depends on where they send people, how deep they go. How do they learn? We know a little bit about it, but how do they learn about Galen Erso?
That's a good question.
How do they know where Jyn is to go and bust her out?
Yeah, good questions indeed.
Yeah.
I'm sure that last arc is going to have a lot of things to try to explain going into Rogue One.
Mm-hmm. There are a lot of interesting things. I mean, was possibly Cassian tracking Jyn before she disappeared and got captured and put in the Imperial prison system, and then they had to figure out where they took her to break her out?
He'd have a little experience with that, wouldn't he?
He would.
Yeah.
Because I could see that being an interesting arc. Not them two coming in contact with each other, but even just in the background, him, hearing maybe the rebels talking about a mission to find Urso's daughter.
Yeah.
Because we don't know what you're talking about without having to go, oh, there it is. But I wouldn't be totally opposed to seeing it too, as long as he, of course, plays by canon rules.
Yeah. I'm very curious to see what they do with this. I'm super excited.
A lot of interesting things that could happen, should happen, maybe.
Probably will happen. I got faith.
It's interesting. The article I read said that Andor has a release date.
What?
Yeah, it's in August 2024. Well, I'm like,
I hope so. That's only a little over a year away. Yeah.
Well, depending on when the Bad Batch final season comes out, we could look at another nice full year, because we only have, the Acolyte coming out next year, and that's supposed to be beginning of the year?
Acolyte, Bad Batch 3, and Andor.
And Andor.
Yeah, Acolyte's supposed to be earlier.
There were supposedly rumors that the next season of Mandalorian would be next year too, but who knows?
That's been kind of postponed with the filming,
as we talked about. Filming was postponed, yes, but we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually
it could still come out late year.
Yeah, maybe Christmas. It'd be fine. I like when they come out around Christmas.
I do too. Even though they don't like to put things out on Christmas, thinking no one's going to watch them, I get the streaming service. I can watch whenever I want.
Yeah, strange how that works.
If I want to lay in bed at 3 a.m. and watch an episode, then I get that. That is my right as a streamer.
I hope not, because you're just going to wake me up.
Yeah, you wouldn't even notice.
I think I would.
She's been in the bathroom a long time.
Oh, you're going to watch on your phone in the bathroom? Oh, then fine, go ahead.
You'll never know. All right, now I guess we move on to new this week in Star Wars, etc. As for Wednesday, we've got comic books, Star Wars 35. We also have the Return of the Jedi anniversary one-shot special Empire. It's about the Empire. It's about somebody who works on Endor as a radar technician. And
oh boy, what's up with all the
contemplating what happens if he doesn't do his job right or something? I don't even know.
Oh boy.
We also get Yoda number 8, where Yoda will be teaming up with Anakin to defeat a factory full of separatist megadroids.
Can't wait.
Megadroids.
Yep. Sounds amazing.
I mean, I thought just calling him a B-1 battle droid.
Super battle droids?
Super battle droid, but now we have
Megadroid.
Maybe they're like Transformers and they turn into Megatron next.
Maybe. The crossover you never knew you wanted.
Thursday will be the first of our Prelude to Ahsoka series, going over characters you may or may not be familiar with heading into the show. We're going to be starting out with Sabine Wren, the Mandalorian artist.
That's what they called her originally, when Rebels was coming out. She was the artist.
That was, because that's what they said that the Empire referred to her as, as her terrorist type code name.
Terrorist name.
Oh, the artist.
The artist. That's a good terrorist name, isn't it? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to talk up terrorism or anything like that by any stretch, but
that will be the first of the series that will go on every Thursday until the show comes out, hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah.
As I find out more Ahsoka information and who's going to be in it, we might have more people on the list.
Yeah, or some might be Order 66.
Or some might be Order 66. If we find out there's extra more on the list, though, I might have to just make more somehow. We'll see how this goes.
Somehow.
And we have voice chat 8 p.m. Central Time on the Discord server for everyone and who's part of the patron program to come
The
on
patron
in.
programs. It makes it sound like the amnesty program. Like we brainwash you. We mind flay you during that couple hours.
Yeah, that's totally what happens. Usually it's really in-depth or really light. It's
Yeah, there's no in between.
always a lot of fun. Friday, Transformers Rise of the Beasts hits theaters. For anyone who wants to watch Robo Monkey
Mega
attack.
droids.
Mega droids.
It's all coming together.
I'm not very familiar with the Beast Wars
I know
stuff.
nothing about Beast Wars stuff.
I just want more Grimlock.
Me, Grimlock.
Yeah, just he's just the cool one.
He was, I mean,
Come on now.
the Dinobots were amazing. I mean, so
Yeah.
I guess I should like this Beast Wars thing. Are they dinosaurs or
They're
like
animals.
like a giant monkey?
There's a monkey, there's a cheetah.
Okay.
Yeah, they're animals.
Yep.
Instead of being dinosaurs, which were cooler.
Cooler, yeah.
If you had to choose between, do I get to transform into one of
Dinosaur.
these three things? Do I want a semi-truck, a monkey, or a dinosaur, T-Rex? What am I going to pick?
I can tell you which would be last place. I don't want to transform into a truck. I know Optimus Prime, I love you, but
But he's beholden to the road.
yeah, it
the
didn't make
rules
any
they're in.
sense. Like, even as a kid, I was always like, well, why do the Decepticons get to turn into jets and fly? And all the Autobots got to, like, drive everywhere. That sucks.
Meow, meow. Traffic jam, guys. Optimus is en route.
Autobots roll into traffic.
No, I'd rather be a dinosaur.
Yeah, you just plow through traffic.
I would transform into Godzilla.
Oh, my God. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
now I know why Grimlock is your favorite. He's the closest to Godzilla.
All right, I think that's good.
Yeah.
We've rambled enough. There's nothing else going on this week.
So I guess people got to tell us what they'd transform into. What would you
Yeah,
pick
oh
to
my
transform into?
If you're a transformer and could transform into anything,
Anything. What are you picking?
keep it PG or better, though.
PG-13's fine.
We
Don't
had
get don't get weird with it,
No,
please.
don't get weird with your transformer transformations.
Because I can think of some weird things already.
We had weird things. We've had this conversation before. I'll probably
Why would you even bring that up right now? Because now people
it's
want to
not.
know what that
this was
conversation
with a bunch of coworkers. For some reason, we had a weird conversation about transformers.
Oh, that you're talking. Oh,
You
okay.
remember now.
Now I do.
Yeah,
oh,
you
my
remember.
goodness. That was a long time ago.
But what would you transform into as a transformer?
Yep. If you got to pick anything,
But you're not
You
a
are-
Decepticon.
You arrive at Earth. You get to see what's all around you. What are you picking? Anyway, I think that's going to be all we got for you this time. So now it's your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think of any and all of today's news or what you transform into. So leave those comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.